Those who knew someone who went missing, what happened? About 8 years ago, was at a bar with my university roommate around midnight. A guy I don't recognize comes up to my roommate. They exchange some words and give each other a big hug. Turns out they were old childhood friends. He sticks around and we shoot the shit for an hour or so. Super nice dude. Said he had to go meet some people, but if we're still out, he might come back this way. We stay for a couple more hours, he never comes back, and we head home. Around 2 weeks later, my roommate finds out via Facebook he went missing that night, and they found his body dumped in a storm drain a few days later. It's still kind of surreal typing this out now that we were maybe some of the last people he talked to. They did catch the people that did it though, so that was good at least. Edit. Whoa, this blew up. Unfortunately, I didn't learn what happened specifically, whether it was a drug deal gone bad, or he OD'd with some other people, and they panicked and dumped him, but my roommate later told me that they caught the people that dumped the body in the storm drain. I sort of know that feeling, though the person I knew died in an accident, not a murder. I'd had class with her just the day before. Next morning, I woke up and learned she had been fatally hit by a car. It's unnerving how fast things like that can happen. My town is small, in the mountains of the Appalachian Mountains for some context. Everyone knows everyone, so when someone goes missing, you notice. First was a lady that was friends with my mom. Let's call her M. She owned and operated a sandwich shop. My mom was working for her and helping her out at the time. One day, M just didn't come to work. Her husband showed up instead. Day 2, she didn't show up and wasn't answering calls, and her husband was telling everyone she left town suddenly. Ran away. My mom didn't believe him and reported her missing. 2 or 3 days later, her body was found in a well at their camp residence. Her husband killed her and hid her body in the well because he was caught having an affair. He's in prison for the rest of his life. Second person is basically the same thing, only she was never found. Her boyfriend is the #1 suspect, but her body has never been found and he's still walking the streets. What happened to the sandwich shop after the husband went to jail? It closed down immediately. The surviving daughter and son were traumatized and didn't want anything to do with it. They both moved away fairly quickly to be with other family. I think M was renting it to start. It was converted into a rental eventually, I believe. It was like a double wide made into a shop. Girl from my middle school class. This was when we were all older, in college. I heard about it through the grapevine from other folks, and there were news stories about it too, far as memory serves. I'll call her Jen. Jen had been clubbing with friends. I don't remember exactly why she left the club alone. There was some reason, but drunk and disoriented, she ended up wandering down the road alone in the middle of the night. She was missing for a couple of days, but it was worse when they found her. Dismembered, body parts shoved into trash bags, in a dumpster. A famous conservative talk show host did a hit piece about it, saying the way she was dressed, she deserved it. This will probably allow people to find her, but it was Bill O'Reilly back in the days of his radio show. I don't think I've ever truly, viscerally hated anyone like I hate that man. I knew Jen because she was the first person to invite me to her birthday party after I transferred into her school. I was a weird, dorky kid with no friends, and she included me. I had so much fun that day. It's one of my happiest memories. And she gave that to me. Boils my blood to this day. What happened to her? The media spin around it. She deserved so much better. Rest in peace, Jen. I was a 911 telecommunicator in moderately well-off, very low crime county. I took the 911 call for a 16-year-old girl that went missing after she didn't come home from her morning run. About 9 hours later, I took a 911 call from the opposite side of the county. Guy claims girl ran up to him claiming she had been kidnapped by a guy in a white box truck. She described him as a middle-aged white guy, and in his truck, he was making her dress up in wedding dresses to take pictures of her. He didn't physically assault her in any way, aside from the initial kidnapping. No rape, no violence. She claims he didn't even watch her change. Just wedding dress pictures. I have no idea if he was ever caught. Edit. Spelling error. I meant other side of county, not country. Sorry about that. Thank you for the work that you do. I left shortly after that. I fix robots now. Those that can make a career of it have my utmost respect. It's not someone I'm close to, but a guy I grew up with went missing from a music festival he was working at. Someone, or multiple people, told police that he abruptly told them he was going home. He didn't go home. He just disappeared. He got to the festival on a bike, but his bike was still there. A couple weeks later, he was identified as being a corpse found in a burned-out building the other direction from home. The case remains unsolved, but it is considered a homicide. The part about this case that bothers me is that I don't know whether the "he went home" person is telling the truth. Did he abruptly decide to go home because something scary happened and he just didn't get that far? Or was that person the one who put him in that burned-out building? I just kind of feel like if things were that bad, that he'd randomly say, "I'm quitting and heading home." He'd just hop on his bike right then and there versus doing whatever came next that put him in the path of the people he was avoiding. One of my best friends from childhood, her boyfriend and his friend set fire to her parents' house one night with her parents tied up inside. Luckily, they escaped, but she wound up missing for weeks. So many people were slinging accusations that she was in on it, but I and others who really knew her knew it just wasn't possible. I feared for the worst, but hoped for the best. Eventually, they found her body in the woods. Her boyfriend had shot her point blank with a shotgun before he and his friend went to her parents' house. I'm still not clear on the entire motivation. I know he was an addict, and her parents were trying to get her away from him. She was not an addict, and they didn't want her going down that path. And I know he had previously been abusive, but I have no idea. Still, what the final motivating factor was for him to do this. He and his friend are now in prison, and I hope they never see the light of day again. Tragically, this just reminded me of a family friend who lost his parents. His sister, an addict, got into a dispute with their parents because they found her doing drugs in the house and told her she couldn't use under their roof. She was so outraged that she beat her parents to death with a crowbar and stabbed her father in the back of the head, then set her parents' house on fire. Apparently, one piece of evidence used in her sentencing was the phone call in which she confessed the details of the murder to her brother. I can't even imagine the agony he's felt. That's all. Like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.